Mainstreaming versus inclusion. What is the difference? So I did a little investigation, and it's very hard to find what is the official difference between mainstreaming versus inclusion. I hear a lot of times you go on tours to different schools, and you'll hear the tour guide saying, "Yeah, we do mainstreaming," or "We do inclusion," and you never know exactly what they're talking about. So one one website I went to, education.com, posed the question, "What is the difference between mainstreaming and inclusion?" And then I found I looked around. I found this was the best kind of answer I could find. So I'm just gonna read it, and then I'll give you my thoughts. As a special education teacher, this is my area of expertise. The school system I am currently in is working hard toward inclusion at all grade levels. Granted, an inclusion setting is not appropriate for all students. We still provide a self-contained classroom for more severe disabilities and one-on-one instruction. Keep in mind, inclusion and mainstreaming depends fully on the district and which settings is most appropriate for them in which they can receive the full extent of instruction. Inclusion for a special education student means that they are in the regular classroom all day long, while the special education teacher circulates in the same classroom, co-teaching with the regular education teacher. Granted, this is always a collaborative situation, but essentially inclusion is educating the student to the maximum extent appropriate in the school and classroom the student would otherwise attend. In an inclusive setting, and the supports are brought to the student rather than being pulled out for resource services. So now this teacher is saying basically right there that inclusion is only if the student is in the regular class for the full day, and if there are a collaborative co-teaching type of situation where there's a special education teacher in the general education class assisting with teaching. They're saying now that also mainstreaming is where a student in special education is selectively placed in the regular ed setting. So just selectively placed for only maybe PE, art, music, library, or guidance. Or it could include going to math class for an hour or reading language arts class for an hour. Placing the student in these settings depends a lot on how the student functions in the regular ed setting. Basically, this is your pull-out services. So I don't know. So it's a little bit tricky to see the difference between somebody being in a regular classroom all day and then somebody being in for part of the day. I guess what they're saying is if it's just part of the day, it's more mainstreaming, and if it's the full day, then it's if it's the full day, then it's inclusion. But that to me, it's a little bit foggier than that. It's harder to distinguish the difference. The idea is you want to include kids in opportunities, whether it's the regular classroom or different parts of the school day, assemblies, field trips, clubs, sports, weekend trips, that kind of stuff. The idea is include them in those trips. Whereas for mainstreaming, you get the idea that you're just kind of dumping kids into a class and not providing as much support as you would if you were kind of planning an inclusive solution, so that it wouldn't be just dumping them in, but they would be getting adaptations and support from staff and maybe from students to really help them feel included and be included in every aspect of the experience. So to me, the better term is inclusion over the term mainstreaming, which gives the impression that you're just kind of leaving somebody to fend for themselves. I suppose you could be in a mainstream class and have an IEP, and the IEP, the individual education program, might call for certain adaptations to curriculum or supports that you might need to still be getting, but it still might not feel like an inclusive situation if you're not truly being supported and included socially, academically, emotionally, and in all aspects of the day. So really, in my mind, we should get rid of the term mainstreaming in education and turn more to inclusion in education. Is it inclusive? What is being done for inclusion, rather than just are they going to be mainstreamed? Frankly, I'd rather make sure that the student has the support that they need rather than just have them be mainstreamed. So if they're going to be in a general ed setting, are they going to have the truly inclusive adaptations and accommodations and modifications and extra support, and are they going to use the full extent of the special ed staff with the general ed staff in concert to make for a classroom that everybody can learn from and that will benefit kids with special needs, but also kids who have just a variety of needs in the regular general ed classroom setting, that maybe don't even have identified special ed needs, but can benefit from different learning styles. So that's something that special ed can support in the general ed setting, and it always helps to have more adults, and per student, so that there's just more supervision, more opportunity for teaching and assessing, and management, and all things like that. So those are my thoughts. Please comment below. Let me know your thoughts, if there's a difference to you on inclusion versus mainstreaming. Do you hear people using the term mainstreaming kind of loosely without thinking through what does that really mean and how is it related to inclusion? Let me know. Share, comment, subscribe, like, and I'll talk to you soon.